My brother.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. Hello, good morning. Please, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, okay, good. So thank you so much for joining the webinar on best practices for water testing in the laboratory using IDEXX testing method. So everything is set. Our speaker is also set, but we want to give ourselves an extended period of 5 minutes to get more admissions. So we start the meeting. So please kindly give us 5 more minutes and then we will begin. Thank you so much once again for joining. Well, thank you very much once again. I believe you can all hear me.
Yes, we can.
All right, good. So my name is Samson Annan, and I'll be your host for this webinar. And we'll try as much as we can to keep to time. Once again, we are thankful to you for joining us. I know we have clients across various industries joining the webinar, and this has been made possible by Cleanearth Scientific together with our partners, IDEXX Laboratory. So we'll just begin. Okay, so just a moment. All right, thank you very much. So our speaker will be introduced in detail. All right, so we'll begin with a brief introduction by Cleanearth Scientific. And then also after the presentation, we'll share the slides for all attendees, and a link or a survey link will also be shared at the end of the conversation. So we encourage all attendees to kindly complete the survey by answering very basic questions. And you would also indicate in the survey if you need certificates to be sent to you, and we'll do that right after the presentation. So briefly about Cleanearth Scientific. Cleanearth, basically, we are a life science and engineering company that provides key services in largely product quality assurance applications, in water quality monitoring and treatment for industrial customers. So we focus largely on product quality analysis, water treatment, and also environmental monitoring. We have been in operation since 1997, over 20 years. And our motivation largely has been to deliver breakthrough laboratory analysis. So we continue this legacy not only to serve our clients, but also to provide key products and services that contribute to clean earth indeed. And our mission is very simple, is to make a difference in quality of water and the environment. So we work with multiple OEMs, original equipment manufacturers, and IDEXX Laboratories is one of our proud partners, reason why they've joined us today. We are partnering them to bring you this webinar. We also have Analytic Journal, Scion Instruments, Hack, Rudolph Analytical Research, Millipore, and the likes. So Cleanearth basically delivers we deliver our services to customers through two major lines. We have the water service department, and we have the life sciences and the lab service department. So the water service department largely does engineering design and equipment supply. So we design and build water and wastewater treatment systems for industries and manufacturing companies. And the life sciences is also associated with 10 key labs set up. And so we are able to build a laboratory from scratch and supply all the key equipment, reagents, and all the lab needs. Basically, we get that completed, and we only hand over the key to you, and you go to start your analysis. And we also offer training, and we give application support and other technical services. we are not so much interested in only providing the equipment, so to say. We care so much about the life after the equipment is supplied. So after sales service is something we take very seriously, and with that. So water services, just to delve a bit deeper, focuses on two main markets. We have the industrial water market and also the commercial municipal market. So for the industrial, we do just about 4 basic things, from treatment systems through process optimization. So maybe you have an existing system, but for some reasons you're not getting the desired results in your water. We come in to do assessments and then propose solutions on what has to be done to optimize or get your system to run efficiently. We also do recycling and reuse and water quality monitoring. And at the commercial side, we focus on treatment systems, management of sewage, recycling and reuse, and operations management. So this is just a summary of what we do for our water service: open plants or containerized water treatment systems. We do water profiling and flow capacity. And the good thing is that we just don't dump a system on you. We are able to work with you to make sure we are proposing something that falls within your budget. So regardless of your budget, you can be sure that we'll be able to tailor something that would meet just that. And our treatment solutions are focused on utility water treatment, process water treatment, and feed water. For our life science, I mentioned earlier, 10K lab delivery. You don't have to worry. From scratch, we're able to set up the laboratory. We are also able to provide equipment that you need, from basic analysis to the high ends. We do training, application support, and we're also focused on preventative maintenance to ensure that your equipment has a larger or a greater lifespan. So we are over 20 years in the system. You can trust us. We have a strong management team that is very diverse, a dedicated team of young Ghanaians with diverse backgrounds in sciences, in engineering, and in the social sciences too. We have a strong financial position, and we work or we collaborate with different impact investor class. And so you can be sure that we'll be able to continuously, through various innovative means, deliver all your analytical means. And these are some of the focus industries we work with. We are within the food and beverage space, within the pharmaceutical space, we are there. You can also find us in the municipal water, power generation, mining. We also operate within the oil and gas, petroleum space, and also contract labs and research and education industries. So these are some of our clients. We work with Nestle Ghana, Diageo, Coca-Cola, Dangote. The mining, Goldfields Ghana is a proud partner or client. Anglo Gold Ashanti, Perseus Mining, we supply to them. Just to mention a few in power, PE Power, we have TICO, Car Power, VRA is also part of our clients. Within municipal water, Ghana Water, of course, it's our biggest customer in the municipal space. We have Abengwa Water, also part of that. TOR, Puma Energy, Temalube, Yensen are all parts of the laboratories we work with in the petroleum space. Verity Laboratory is also there. In the pharmaceutical side, USB Ghana is our client, Item Drugs, etc. Just to mention a few others. That's the research and regulatory space. We have SGS Lab, CSIR, Ghana Standards Authority, FDA, Veolia. A lot, it goes on and on and on. And our impact areas, it spans largely from consumer health and safety. We are so much concerned about the quality of the food, the water, and the beverage, and the quality of, we ensure that through our systems, you get the best quality of drugs that are produced by the pharmaceutical companies. And also within the water and environmental space, we ensure that through the products that we offer, clean water is basically ensured, which also affects or informs the level or high level of sanitation. And within job creation and science and technology, we are a strong proponent of women in STEM. And so we have a lot of women working with us, and we ensure that through our activities and our social impact expectations, I mean, we impact young women in STEM through education and other training programs we organize. So by doing all of these, supplying equipment, driving through various social impact channels, we also impact in the economy of Ghana to ensure that there is a lot of development. So quality control and assurance, we pride ourselves in that. And how do we do that? We do this through our various analytical techniques, and this helps us to drive a lot of impact within the health space, in education, in social, and also various economic development spaces. So at Cleanearth, I would say that delivering equipment and related services to our clients ensure them of quality outcomes in their water, in their product, and in their environment. And that is what we pride ourselves so much in. We are available in the digital space. You can locate us. We have our office, our transaction office in Ghana at Lashibi Community 18, 7 Name Close. We have our website, cleanearthsci.com. Our email is also showing on the screen, info@cleanearthsci.com. And you can also follow us across our social media platforms on Facebook. On Facebook is at Cleanearth SCI Limited. On Twitter, we are there, Cleanearth SCI. Instagram is Cleanearth SCI, and on LinkedIn is Cleanearth Scientific Limited. So you can follow us across our various spaces, and we would be able to have a lot more of interaction. So at this point, I believe that all is set for us to hear from our guest speaker for the morning, and I'm very much happy and privileged to introduce our speaker, who is a renowned water quality expert. He's a prominent microbiologist specializing in the field of water quality in drinking and industrial water, where you would agree with me that contamination with species, such as Legionella and all the other forms of bacteria, and Pseudomonas, Enterococci, and coliforms are involved. And he has over 20 years of practical experience in methods and the analysis of water for the presence of fecal indicator organisms and waterborne pathogens. And I'm also excited to let you know that he has worked very closely with various laboratories and experts, as well as regulatory bodies around the world, developing or helping to develop new and innovative technologies, training analysts, and also establishing all the best practices you can think of that helps to optimize and often, complex technical procedures and generate robust methodologies. So ladies and gentlemen, if you are ready, I'm pleased to introduce our guest speaker for the morning from IDEXX Laboratory. Please welcome Dr. Brett Brewin. Dr. Brewin, we are happy to have you, and I'm happy to welcome you. I'm sure our audience are excited and all ready to hear from you.
Thank you, Samson, and welcome everyone. I'm very happy to be here to talk to you today. I would just open up my presentation for you. And I'm hoping you can see this. Just to introduce myself again a little bit, I am Brett Brewin. I'm the technical manager for Europe, Middle East, and Africa in IDEXX Laboratories. I've been with IDEXX for 24 years. And as Samson said, I've been working with regulatory bodies and experts around the world for those 24 years, developing various methodologies. So today, just to give you an overview, I'd like to talk about why we routinely monitor water. What are we looking for? And then I'm going to go through some of the various non-pathogens and pathogens that we look for, including total coliforms, enterococci, Pseudomonas, Legionella, total plate count. And I'll give you some information about the IDEXX products, which are used to detect those genera of bacteria. So routine water monitoring is really a verification process. We want to verify that the processes that we have in place between taking our source water through the treatment process to producing a product that's suitable for drinking, we want to verify that those processes are working correctly. Routine monitoring is used for all water types. So it doesn't matter whether it's drinking water, recycled water, so water reuse, whether it's from a pool or spa or bottled water, all types of water have to be tested. We have to have correct procedures in place to make sure that water, whatever its end use is suitable for that use. We have to make sure that the method suitability is correct and that the method efficacy is correct. So is the method suitable for what we intend? And is the method doing what it's intended to do? And together, they allow us to determine whether levels of contamination of various bacterial species or pathogen species are suitable for the end use. There's a lot of things that are important with routine monitoring. Specifically, we want an ideal monitoring method. Well, what does that look like? Well, an ideal monitoring method must be sensitive, selective, and specific. So it must be accurate. That means few false positives, few false negatives, a highly repeatable and reproducible methodology. We also want it to be precise, proven, and robust so that you know that it is a reliable method. That means we need consistent formulation of the media used with the method, consistent manufacturing processes, consistent quality, and consistent performance. So what exactly are we looking for? Well, typically we look for indicator organisms. Indicator organisms often don't cause disease, but they do act as a surrogate for pathogens, and they're often much easier to detect than the pathogens themselves are. They typically indicate evidence of fecal contamination, which in turn signifies the risk of the presence of disease-causing bacteria and viruses, and therefore risk of disease. They also signify evidence of issues with a distribution system, which in turn poses a risk of the water source itself being compromised. And again, that results in a risk of disease. So it's extremely important for us to detect these indicator organisms. Total coliforms is a primary indicator. They're a very, very diverse group of bacteria present in fecal matter or in the environment. And these typically indicate issues within a distribution system. Moving on from that, we have E. coli, which is a species of coliform, but it's almost exclusively of fecal origin. And that indicates recent direct fecal contamination of a water source. Intestinal enterococci or enterococci are another group of bacteria. Again, they're primary of fecal origin, and these indicate some historical fecal contamination event. And then finally, heterotrophs. So heterotrophs are general bacterial water content of a sample, and they're a general indicator of water quality. Within these groups, E. coli is probably the most important indicator because, again, that's indicating direct fecal contamination of a water source that has occurred quite recently. Why we use E. coli, if you look at the bacterial content of fecal material from various mammalian sources, you can see that E. coli is present predominantly in all of those sources. Other coliforms and other bacteria are present at much, much lower levels. So it makes sense that we use E. coli as our predominant bacterial coliform species, and it's the preferred fecal indicator without dispute. We do also look for pathogens in certain situations. So for example, Pseudomonas aeruginosa is an opportunistic pathogen, particularly with people that have compromised lungs or they have burns on their body. It's extremely important in those cases. So it's very important in hospitals, but also pools and spas and in bottled water. And I'll come on to reasons why. Legionella pneumophila is another pathogenic bacteria, causes Legionnaire's disease, as I'm sure you all know. And it's very good at colonizing water systems, cooling towers, and anywhere that you're going to generate aerosolized water particles. Legionella pneumophila is extremely important. So looking at IDEXX technologies, we have 3 enzyme substrate technologies. Defined substrate technology is the first. This is where the nutrient indicators within the reagent are the main carbon source. We also have bacterial enzyme technology, which again contains primary nutrient indicators, but there are some other nutrients in there. These are typically used with fastidious organisms that require some other key nutrients to be able to grow. And then finally, we have multiple enzyme technologies, where we have multiple nutrient indicators, and that allows us to detect a very wide range of bacteria. This is our core portfolio. So we have numerous products for detecting the various groups of bacteria, whether they're pathogenic or indicator organisms. And we have a lot of accessory products as well to allow you to use all of these particular products. Formats, typically we're using presence absence, and we can do that in either a 100 milliliter format or a 250 milliliter format, excuse me. Or we can do quantitative testing in a 100 milliliter format, giving a counting range up to about 200 mpn, or a slightly different format that involves a dilution, where we get a counting range up to around 2,500 mpn. So you can either do presence absence or quantitative analysis, depending on what your needs are. We have a generalized methodology. For presence absence, you just add the reagent, allow the reagent to dissolve with your water sample, and then incubate it and read your PA results, either looking at a color change or a fluorescence. If you want to do quantitative analysis, you just add your sample with the reagent to a Quanti-Tray, seal it, incubate, and again, then read your quantitative results. So let's look specifically at coliforms, including E. coli. We have 3 products, Cholilert 18, Cholilert, and ColiSure. They've all been developed historically over a period of time, and they have some slightly different applications. So Cholilert 18 and Cholilert, for detecting total coliforms, it contains a nutrient indicator called ONPG. And there's an enzyme present in the total coliform bacteria called beta-galactosidase that breaks down the ONPG to a sugar and a product called O-nitrophenol, which is yellow. So in the presence of total coliforms, we get yellow coloration within the vessel or the Quanti-Tray. With ColiSure, it's very slightly different. The nutrient indicator present is called CPRG. The same enzyme beta-galactosidase breaks down the CPRG to a sugar, but forms a different product. It's called chlorophenol red. And so you get this red or magenta coloration in the presence of total coliforms. And the main reason that people would use the ColiSure product is when there's some discoloration in the water already. So you might be testing a source water or an effluent water type that's got some sort of brown or yellow coloration. And so that makes the use of CoLalert or CoLalert 18 quite difficult, but CoLaSure gives you a much stronger color difference. And again, it's very useful in those applications. If we're looking for E. coli in a sample, all three products work in exactly the same way. There's a second nutrient indicator within these products called MUG, and there's a specific enzyme, very specific for E. coli. The enzyme is called beta-glucuronidase. That breaks down the MUG to a sugar and a product called methyl umbelliferone, and that fluoresces under UV light. So within one product, we can actually determine the number of coliforms and also specifically E. coli. All of the yellow wells will be coliform bacteria, and if they're yellow and fluorescent, we have E. coli in the sample. CoLalert 18, CoLalert and CoLaSure have a lot of applications. Not all of those products are validated for each application. However, I would say that CoLalert 18 is. CoLalert 18 is an ISO reference method. It's ISO 9308-2, and it is approved for all water types. So anything from very clean drinking water through bottled water, through reuse water to wastewater. It's approved for testing of all of these different matrices. Moving on to the enterococci, again, we have three products, Enteralert, Enteralert E, and Enteralert DW. The reason for the three products is, again, historical, and I can go into detail on that if anybody's interested. The enterococci are detected by the presence of an enzyme called beta-glucosidase, and that's the same enzyme that's used when we're doing the confirmatory procedure with the current reference method. So beta-glucosidase is also known as esculinase, and it breaks down esculin. The indicator, the nutrient indicator present in Enteralert and Enteralert E is called MuGal, and the beta-glucosidase breaks that down into the sugar and methyl umbelliferone. So those fluoresce under UV light when we have enterococci in the sample. Enteralert DW is a little bit different. Here we're using the OMPG indicator, but it's not the same OMPG that we have with CoLalert. It's actually a glucosidase substrate. So the beta-glucosidase breaks that down into a sugar and the O-nitrophenol. There's also a blue dye present in the reagent. And so in the presence of enterococci, your sample will turn this lime green color. A lot of applications, again, for intestinal enterococci, everything from drinking water now through spa waters and also in hospitals. The European Union has just revised its drinking water directive, and so now testing of drinking water is becoming mandatory. Enterococci are becoming a Class A indicator, and so you have to test them with the same frequency as you would test for E. coli. A Pseudomonas is a little bit different. It's a pathogen, so we're not testing for indicators here. We're directly testing for the presence of the pathogen itself. In this case, we have a nutrient indicator present, but unfortunately it's proprietary. I can't go into too much detail. And the enzyme we're looking for is also proprietary information. However, what I can say is that enzyme breaks down the substrate into its sugar moiety and the methyl umbelliferone. And again, that flashes under UV light. It's a running theme here. We use it either using colorimetric or fluorometric indicators of positive results. Reduces the subjectivity of the test and makes it much easier for you to determine your results. Again, a lot of applications for Pseudomonas aeruginosa, everything from drinking water, particularly important with bottled water Anywhere that you've got a large pipework system, Pseudomonas forms biofilm very, very readily. And so in those situations, you must test for Pseudomonas aeruginosa. Also in pools and spas, typically the pool water itself is not the problem. The main problem with pools are the large amounts of other objects that are in the pool. So you will have floats, you will have toys that children will play with in the pool, and these can become easily contaminated with Pseudomonas. They're often left wet while the pool is not in use, and again the Pseudomonas can grow, and this can cause hot tub rash or swimmer's ear. It's very easy also to recontaminate the pool water with those objects. In hospitals, again, you have very, very complex plumbing systems within hospitals. It's very, very easy for Pseudomonas to colonize those water systems. And once it's colonized a water system, it's very, very difficult to eradicate. Legionella pneumophila, again, another very, very important pathogen. We have a product called Legionella. We've been marketing this product now for a number of years. Again, I can't go into too much detail about the nutrient indicator or the enzyme. However, in the presence of Legionella pneumophila specifically, you get this brown colored indicator produced, which is indicating the presence of that bacteria. Legionella is suitable for a range of water types. So there's potable waters, so typically those waters that are fit for human consumption. That could include water that's coming out of your tap or a water fountain, but also showers, bath taps, eye wash stations, ice machines. And then we have non-potable waters, so those that are not typically going to be consumed, and that can be anything from cooling towers, fluid coolers, air conditioners, decorative fountains. The main point, however, is anywhere where you are potentially producing aerosols, so cooling towers, fountains, anywhere that you're going to be producing aerosols, testing for Legionella pneumophila is extremely important, because that's the root of infection. The aerosolized particles are inhaled, they infect the lungs, and that can end result cause the disease. For potable water, you need a number of things. The hardness of the water is of key importance to the performance of the test. So we have a hardness supplement in there, which reduces the hardness in the water to a level where it's not going to affect the end result. But IDEXX produce all of the equipment and the reagents, so the vessels, the trays, the sealers, that will allow you to perform the test adequately. The supplement itself arrives as a dry powder into your laboratory, and you just rehydrate that and then store it at room temperature. And the hardness test as well is also supplied with the kit, so you can determine the level of hardness in your sample and then the correct amount of supplement to add. There are two procedures for potable water. There's either a 100 ml protocol or a 10 milliliter protocol. And which you use will depend on the level of sensitivity you require. But the procedure itself is very straightforward. You just determine the level of hardness, add the required level of supplement, then add your Legionella reagent, allow that to dissolve, add it to your Legionella Quanti-Tray, seal it, and then incubate it for 7 days. It is a 7-day test. Legionella is a very, very slow growing organism. So we have to incubate that for an extended amount of time. But 7 days is much less than the 12 to 14 days for the current reference method. So there are advantages there. The 10 ml procedure only differs in that it does not require the hardness test. So that 1 to 10 dilution that's involved negates the requirement for the use of the hardness indicator itself. For non-potable water, again, it's a little bit different. There's no hardness supplement here, but there is a pre-treatment. And the reason there's a pre-treatment is because there's a lot of background bacteria present typically in non-potable water sources. So we use this pre-treatment to try and reduce that level of background, and that in turn reduces the potential for false positive results. Again, the pre-treatment arrives in your laboratory as a dry reagent, and you just rehydrate that and again store it at room temperature. And similarly, we have 2 volumes that we've validated, 1 milliliter or 0.1 milliliter. Again, that depends on the level of sensitivity you require for your test. But you do your pre-treatment on your water sample, and then you add that water sample to your Legion Alert reagent, and then just follow the same steps. So add it to the Legion Alert Quanti-Tray and incubate for 7 days. I would indicate, though, that it's a slightly lower temperature for non-potable waters. It's 37 degrees rather than 39. And the reason for that is that the pre-treatment step can sublethally injure also some of the Legionella. So we have to reduce the temperature, and that allows them to recover and grow over the 7-day period. There is a very specific Quanti-Tray for use with Legion Alert. And the reason for that is that Legionella have an absolute requirement for oxygen. And so the Quanti-Tray Legion Alert is breathable. It allows gas exchange and allows those Legionella to grow in the sample. Results are very simple to interpret. Any brown coloration that you see should be interpreted as positive for Legionella pneumophila, but also sometimes you might see turbidity without coloration, and that's also positive. If there's no color change, there's no turbidity, that's a negative result. I think you can see it's significantly easier to interpret results than the current reference method, which is your GVPC or BCYE agar. For total paint count, we have a number of options. Heterotrophic bacteria are basically generic bacteria. We don't speciate these types of bacteria. They provide a general indication of water quality. They're present in all water types, and there are a number of international standards that you can follow. Plate count agar, yeast extract agar, for example. We have products that contain 3 nutrient indicators, which are acted on by 3 very, very common enzymes. The majority of bacteria will at least contain 1 of these 3 enzymes. And so by using this multiple enzyme technology, we can generate a result and detect a very, very wide range of bacteria. EasyDisc is our latest product to be launched. Again, this is providing a general indication of water quality. It's used with all water types. And depending on regionality, you might be using plate count agar, yeast extract agar, R2 agar. It's a simple 1 milliliter sample test that you add to the EasyDisc, allow the reagent that's in the disc to dissolve and then incubate. Gives you very, very concordant counts with the current reference methods that will be used in a particular region. And the results are much, much easier to interpret when you're using pour plates or spread plates. You often get colonies of very, very different sizes. They can often be spreading across the plate. Can be difficult to interpret those results. With EasyDisc, we've tried to negate that. Much easier to use, easier to count, and they're smaller, so there's a lot less waste, and I know we're all concerned with waste at the moment. So just as a reminder, our number 1 priority really with our analysis, so this routine monitoring, number 1 priority is consistent. And having quality products is not just about mixing ingredients. First of all, you want a proven formulation. You want very, very consistent manufacture. you want consistent quality control, and you want consistent performance. That will give you a reliable and accurate methodology, which will give you consistent and reliable results in your lab. Consistency is about a number of things. Again, manufacturing, IDEXX have manufacturing facilities around the world. They're all accredited to ISO 17025 and 9001. We have distribution centers all around the world. So you have consistent product that will be delivered consistently to you or your customers. Our manufacturing facilities are very, very high class, ISO class 7. This is pharmaceutical industry levels. We have very, very stringent processes for materials coming in and the product that goes out. We have very, very stringent controls over the environment. And so again, all of our products are manufactured to a very, very high specification. And our worldwide logistics centers, we have 99% accuracy of delivery in full to customers. Typically, we can ship product within 24 hours and they will arrive at the destination within 24 hours. Our quality testing laboratory is accredited to ISO 17025 standards, and that reduces the level of quality control that our customers have to do. We have certificates of quality available for all of our products, and everything's done in compliance with microbiological testing standard, ISO 11133. Again, when it comes to quality control, we take it very, very serious. So each batch of media must be tested to make sure it's acceptable, it's fit for use, and it has consistent performance from lot to lot. There are very, very stringent requirements on this. Microbiological testing has to be done according to ISO 11133. And just to give you an example, you've got CoLalert there at the top of this table, and there's a lot of criteria. Specific organisms have to be tested. We have to do qualitative and quantitative testing. We have to meet various pass criteria. If IDEXX didn't do this, the customer would have to do it. So we do all of this for you. We take on the burden of the quality control so that you don't have to do that. And we send you our certificates of analysis so that you can be reassured that this product has been tested in accordance with the required standards, and it meets the requirements of those standards. Consistency of performance. Well, I think our products are some of the most tested products in the world. We have approvals or acceptances all over the world. And again, we've gone through very, very stringent validations and verifications worldwide in order to ensure to you and to our customers that the performance of our products is suitable and consistent. We also do a lot of characterization of our methods. A lot of this data doesn't exist for reference methods, typically because they were produced many decades ago in the 1950s and the 60s, and these requirements weren't there back then. But we do characterize our methods, and so we know the sensitivity of the method for various parameters. We know the level of false positives that you might see or false negatives that you might see. Just some final comments then before we finish. Again, our products have been scrutinized, not just by us, but by many, many independent laboratories and regulatory bodies around the world. This level of scrutiny has led to many acceptances. So you'll see our methods appearing in standard methods, in guidelines, such as the microbiology of drinking water, and also as ISO reference methods. That's the level of dedication we've taken to get our products approved for use. And these acceptances lead to a lot of acceptance within laboratory. They trust the data, they see the data from independent sources, and so our customers are happy to use our product with confidence. Just to give you one example, Thames Water is our biggest customer for CoLalert worldwide. They do 400 to 500 CoLalert tests a day, every day of the year. Over the last 15 years, they've managed to attain a near perfect 99% negative water sample for E. coli. Back when they started using CoLalert, they had a reputation for being one of the poorest laboratories with the highest number of failures. But over those 15 years using CoLalert 18, they're now at the top of the league table for water quality at the customer tap. And I thank you for your attention. I will share this presentation with you, and I'm happy to take any questions that you may have.
Well, thank you very much, Brett, for that wonderful and concise presentation. So we'll come to the questions, but before we get to the questions, we'd like to take about 2 minutes to play a very short video, so you have a visual kind of idea about the IDEXX method of determining of microbial analysis, basically. So let's see this video in 2 minutes, and then we'll give you the opportunity to ask your questions.
It's time to save time with the Quanti-Tray Sealer Plus, the next generation sealer from IDEXX. Building on the reliability and ease of use of our Model 2X, the field-tested Quanti-Tray Sealer Plus has been redesigned to increase lab productivity and make your job easier. The Sealer Plus allows you to start testing sooner, warming up 80% faster than before, and will accelerate workflow with improved sealing time. Plus, it's ready to seal when you are with its new energy-efficient sleep mode. And cleaning is simplified with an easy access panel to the rollers and a new drip tray that helps prevent messy spills. IDEXX is committed to providing the highest quality water testing solutions and advanced technology that's designed to last. Ask about our trade-in program that makes getting a new Quanti-Tray Sealer Plus easy and affordable. Contact your IDEXX representative today or visit idexx.com for details.
Well, thank you very much. So we just saw a very brief video of the Quanti-Tray, which is part of the technology. So Brett, if you can just give a summary of the system, how the Quanti-Tray works together with the reagents, I mean, for the determination of the... I think you are muted. We can't hear you. Yeah.
Yeah, so in some applications, presence-absence testing is suitable. So for example, bottled water, where you have a typical limit of 0, in the end product, you can do presence-absence testing to verify that your water is meeting standards. But in the majority of applications, you really want to know what's coming into the treatment process and what's going out of the treatment process. So even if you have a limit of 0 at the end product, your drinking water, you really need to know if your testing procedures are working correctly. So you need to do quantification. You need to know if I've got 10 million coliforms coming into my treatment plant and I get a 4 log reduction with the product going out, then that's acceptable. My treatment process is working correctly. And to do that, you need to do quantitative testing. So you need to use the Quanti-Tray or the Quanti-Tray 2000, whichever is more suitable to the levels of organisms you're expecting. It's very, very simple to use. You're just adding your sample and reagent to that tray and sealing it. That compartmentalizes the sample into a number of wells, either 51 or 97. And by determining the number of wells that go positive, you can work out the most probable number of organisms that are in your sample. And that is accepted as being equivalent to a colony count on a plate with a reference method.
All right, thank you very much, Brett, for throwing some light on the Quanti-Tray technology. So we have our first question, and it's from Daisy.
Mm-hmm.
She wants to know, or she's asking, what would be the advantage of using enterolate IDEXX method over detecting enterococci by membrane filtration onto S&B agar?
Yep. There are a couple of advantages. Firstly, it's a 24-hour test rather than a 48-hour test. So you're saving a day. You're getting your enterococcus result at the same time as you're getting your coliform and E. coli results. So you can act on all of those results almost at the same time. The Slanitz-Bartley method is known to be lacking in some sensitivity. It's very, very specific because there's a very high level of sodium azide in the sample, but that can make it sometimes less sensitive. So with certain water types, particularly where you might have injured organisms, you may not be detecting the level of enterococci that you should be. Again, I've mentioned the EU Drinking Water Directive has made enterococci a class A parameter. So you have to do one-to-one testing with your E. coli testing. And again, the advantages there, get your results at exactly the same time, allows you to act upon those results at the same time. And yeah, I think those are, there's no confirmation steps, obviously, with the Enteralert methodologies, whereas with the Slanitz-Bartley, you have this pre-incubation for 2 days, and then the confirmation step for 2 to 4 hours, depending on which guidelines you're following. And there's no toxic products. Sodium azide is present in Slanitz-Bartley agar, and it does have a level of toxicity for both the users, but also for disposal that you have to take into account. So those are the main advantages.
All right, thank you very much. So our second question is from Maria, and she wants a bit of explanation on the differences between enterolate and the enterolate e-tests. Okay.
So the main difference between Enteralert and Enteralert E is the standard we had to compare to. So Enteralert was developed for the US market, and there you're comparing to standard methods, whereas Enteralert E was developed for the European market, where you're comparing to the ISO 78992 standard. So that's the main difference. We had to slightly tweak the formulation to allow them to meet those two different standards. So there are typically two products. I'd also say that Enteralert E is currently recommended for environmental water testing. So that could be bathing water, either marine or fresh. Then the Enteralert DW product is used for drinking waters. It's the formulation gives it a slightly higher sensitivity so that we can again detect those chlorine injured organisms.
Okay, Brett, thank you. So on to our third question, and he wants to know from Perfect, he wants you to shed some light on how to use these methods without the sealer or the sealer plus. Is it possible to use any of the methods without the sealer plus?
Only in presence absence format. If you want to do quantitative analysis, you need to use the sealer or the sealer plus. Well, the sealer plus.
Really. Okay, so you only use the sealer when you are interested in
quantitative analysis.
Yeah, quantify. Okay, all right. Okay, I believe perfect. It's also clear. And we have another question, and this coming from a client within the mining space, and he says they run a lot of text or test samples, but because of the volume of the tests they do, yes, they use the collet 18 method, but they want to find out if there's a relatively faster method beyond collet 18, or if IDEXX is developing another method that will enable them get test results less than 18 hours. I mean, this is because sometimes there's a lot of pressure from customers, to get results earlier than 18 hours.
Currently, to my knowledge, there's no liquid culture method that's faster than 18 hours. The reason being is you can only push bacteria to grow at a certain rate, and the 18-hour test is specific. We're not currently working on anything that's faster than that. There are other methodologies where you could get a test faster, for example, PCR, but there's a lot of investment in equipment. There's a lot of training required, and the result that you get typically is only semi-quantitative. So if you want truly quantitative results, you need to stick with the liquid culture, and Colilert 18 is the fastest that there is so far.
Thank you very much, Brett. So we are just about wrapping up, but we want to see another short video, very, very short video, throwing some more light on the method for Colilert 18. And then we'll come back within the next minutes. If anyone has a question you want to ask, you can just raise your hand up. You can hit that button, and then we'll give you the opportunity to ask that. We want to do that within the next 2-3 minutes, and then we'll call it a wrap on today's webinar. Also, we'll be posting the link for the survey. Please complete it, especially those who are interested in getting a certificate for this webinar. So please, let's watch this short video.
Bacterial testing in your wastewater facility. The IDEXX Quanti-Tray system. This single platform has different reagents that allow you to test for fecal coliforms, E. coli, and enterococci. The Quanti-Tray system requires minimal training and eliminates the time-consuming tasks of media preparation, counting colonies, and cleaning glassware. And it requires fewer steps than other methods. IDEXX tests take less than a minute of hands-on preparation time and provide you with confirmed results in as little as 18 hours. The results are easy to read and less subjective than traditional testing methods. The accuracy of the Quanti-Tray system reduces the potential for false positives and negatives and their associated costs. You don't have to perform confirmation testing and only minimal QC testing. With IDEXX, you have the assurance of tests that are US EPA approved and included in standard methods for the examination of water and wastewater. So if you want testing that's easy to use, rapid, accurate, cost-effective, and approved around the world, rely on bacterial testing from IDEXX. Our Quanti-Tray system will...
Okay, thank you very much. So we have one question, and from Aurelia. She wants to know that, okay, so she's saying that the number that is indicated with some of the products have a significance. Example, Colilert 18, meaning it's 18 hours test time.
Yeah.
What does the 250 in Sidolet 250 signify?
Okay, so as you say, Colilert 18, it's an 18-hour test that allows us to differentiate from Colilert and Colisure, which are 24 to 28-hour tests. The 250 with Sudalert indicates that it's a 250 milliliter test. And again, that just distinguishes it from Sudalert, which is for 100 milliliters. Same with Enteralert 250, it's a 250 ml test. They're typically used for bottled water analysis, where a higher volume is tested. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much, Brett. Please, anyone with any more question, if you have any question, the floor is open. You can put your hand up.
I'd just say, Samson, if anyone has questions, please reach out to Cleanearth or reach out to IDEXX. We'd be happy to help you with any questions, validation data, or anything else that we can do.
So please, if there's any follow-up question, you can add them to the survey. The link has been posted in the chat, so kindly click on the link and then you follow all the instructions, and then we'll get all the feedback and we'll respond to them accordingly. We'd like to say a big thank you so much for making time. We know a lot of you are very, very busy, and so we are grateful for making time out of your busy schedules. And we are also privileged to have learned other methods, especially the IDEXX method in the area of microbial analysis. Hitherto, I'm sure most of us knew only about some of the traditional methods, but today we've been informed, we've learned extensively about what IDEXX is also offering. And I know that this has given us will give us a lot more opportunities to get to know a lot more about the IDEXX method, and possibly it will inform our decision to convert from the traditional methods to the IDEXX method, which gives a lot of efficiency. And for example, you can get your results in 18 hours. It's good news, and I'm sure this is something a lot of us will be happy to know about. Thank you so much, Brett, for your time. This has been a partnership of Cleanearth Scientific and IDEXX Laboratories. Hopefully, we'll have each other's time again in our subsequent webinars. On behalf of the team, we say thank you all once again for joining, and do have a wonderful day.
Yeah, thank you, Samson. Thanks everybody for joining. Appreciate it.